Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Digital Toolbox Podcast. My name is Emmanuel Tejada. I am the host at this podcast. Today we have a special guest. We have Brandon Leslie over at Steel City Plumbers in Pennsylvania. So Brandon, go ahead, man. Introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Brandon Leslie. I'm the owner of Steel City Plumbers in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and we're just out here killing it, trying to change the market in our city.
Let's go. And what do you mean by that? Changing the marketing in your city?
Because like the plumbing, Pittsburgh, I guess it's a small town with, I guess you would say, big city appeal, and a lot of the companies, like there's major hitters that have been in the market for years and years and years, and I guess they're used to doing things and treating their customers a certain way. And we're trying to change that and disrupt the whole market and bring that service back to the customer and actually bring and for our technicians bring a good atmosphere and a good place for them to work where there's no limits. There's no limits on what they can make and it's more than just a 9 to 5, get in the truck and do the plumbing and go home. So we're big on family life and just bridging that gap between working and playing, I guess you would say.
Gotcha. No, for sure, man. And so what does that mean? That first part that you mentioned that the current plumbers or the people that have been doing the plumbing for a lot of the customers that you work with in the past, what was their service like? They just didn't care about the client. They just wanted to get the job done and get out of there. But you guys bring more personality into it. Is that what it is?
Right. Well, when we go in and I guess into a customer's home, we basically try to you know interact with the customer and basically get on their level and provide them options that they allow them to choose our best way to serve them and go above and beyond. That's like one of our key goals is to do the best for the customer and always go above and beyond. And I say that in the way of uh, say it's an older lady and she needs something moved in the house. Take that 2 seconds and move that box for her, or whatever, just to make them because we need this just as much as they need us. We need them as well.
100%, 100%. Yeah, and I definitely know what you mean. In fact, before I went full time with my marketing agency, I used to work in IT, and a lot of the guys they were just average, right? If their job was to do one, two, and three, they would do one, two, and three. And if you ask them to do four, that would be a problem. They're like, "Oh no, man, I'm not doing that." But me, I'm like, I'm trying to go above and beyond. So, and that sounds what like you guys are doing too. And can you
Right.
tell me a little bit more about the culture? Because you said that's a big thing too, right? Family life, making sure the guys feel like they have a passion for plumbing, not just come in by 8, out by 4. How do you accomplish that?
Well, basically, we work 8 to 4, no nights and weekends, no on calls. We're setting up a lounge area for our guys to have somewhere in between calls to go. We just try to bring a different presence. So we offer a lot of bonuses and spiffs for our guys to just get ahead. And even like for example, one of our spiffs that we're testing is actually home cleaning for their wives. Like once a month we'll have a cleaning company come in and take care of their house so they can take their wife out on a date. Because like in our industry we get so deep into work and we forget about kids and life and family. And that's very important.
That's extremely important. Yeah, that's extremely important. I love the fact that you're taking initiative on that. I've actually never heard that before. Having the cleaning company go and clean the house of the employees so they can go out on a date. Man, that will make somebody stay at that company for a long time. That's pretty cool. And how does that work then? Do you guys like how many of you guys are there? How many employees do you guys have?
Right now we have 3 techs and 2 office staffs.
And two office staffs? And you're a tech as well, or are you more hands off now?
Well, I'm still currently in the field for now.
For
So
now. You got plenty of And when do you think you'll be hands off,
I don't
if
know,
ever?
man. I'll be honest with you. My last year, my goal was to be out of yeah, last year in January, my goal was to be out of the field in June by my birthday, June 5th.
Hmm.
And I didn't get that goal, but it's looking pretty close that by June 5th this year it might happen.
Man, let's go. And so what would work and life look like for you if you weren't in the field? What would you be focusing your energy on?
I would say if I wasn't in the field, I would be more or less focusing my time on helping my techs to grow their skills and focusing on the 50 other tasks in the business as far as more on the marketing side, the I guess you would say guerrilla marketing side, and just taking this company to new heights.
Let's go, man. That's what it's all about. I love hearing that. And probably, I mean, I don't know if you guys are doing a commercial too or just residential. What are you guys doing right now?
Right now, we focus on residential service because we
Do you
found
guys
in
do
our,
any commercial work at all?
I'll say here and there, I might dabble in something, but
Hmm.
I'm very, very selective on my clients. Very selective.
Really? Gotcha. And I was gonna say maybe that's even one thing that you may even focus more on. Maybe the uh, scaling up on the commercial side if you have more time. But how, how come you're so stringent with the clients that you take on? Is that for a specific reason?
Because we strive to do same day service. So if you know, like commercial, usually the jobs are drawn out multiple days. We want to be we're striving to be available to be able to get that call and somebody's heading in that job in 10, 15 minutes. You know what I mean? So like taking on those projects ties up the time. I don't. That's one of our kind of key things we do. I don't want my time tied up. I want to be available to catch the call right now. So that's the way. That's just the best way to be profitable in this industry. Putting money in the bank tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? Doing work today and putting money in the bank tomorrow. Not dealing with a client that wants to pay 30, 60, 90-day terms. And I'm essentially fronting their job and waiting to get a payout.
Man, that is so true. And is that kind of what allows you guys to like for example, a call comes in and you guys are so quick to dispatch that the person doesn't even have time to call anybody else, another plumber. You guys are already on your way.
Right? Because well, pretty much essentially, like we always answer our phones. Like there's always somebody to answer the phone 24 hours a day. Even though we don't work 24 hours a day, but somebody's always answering that phone. And
Really? Even like at night? Even
yes, we
how,
got a call.
can you get into that? Like how do you guys fulfill on that demand of picking up calls in the middle of the night? Do you guys have like virtual assistants or something?
We have a third party answering service that they're connected right into our CRM, and they'll take the call and book it right on our schedule. So say for example, like last night, somebody called Sunday night. Our phones in the office are shut off. It goes straight to them. So somebody called last night at 8 o'clock, and by 9 o'clock, I got an email. Such and such client booked for tomorrow between 8 and 1. So then we just go in, dispatch a technician to that job first thing in the morning, and we head out.
Wow. As opposed to if you would have been if you wouldn't have had that answering service, they probably would have called a couple other plumbers, and had
Exactly.
one of them had that same service for overnight phone answers, they would have gotten that job.
Hmm.
Man, that's spiffy right there. And what CRM do you guys use, by the way?
I'm sorry, sir. We use Field Pulse.
Phil Host,
Field Pulse.
Field Post. Ah, and you guys have been using that for a while. Like how does that compare
We
to other ones?
we've been on Field Pulse for I'll say maybe like 3 or 4 months,
Oh, so it's kind of relatively new, you would say.
right to us. And
Do you guys?
I use a couple different other ones in the past, but they're pretty decent. Like it has a lot of features and techniques and to make your life easier. Like even in our with our system, we have integrated like all our techs have tablets. Everything's digital. We don't do no paper, pen and paper. So you can actually call a client via tablet when you're on your way to the job or at the job. In our dispatch, there's a button you hit You hit on your way, it sends an automatic text to the client with a picture of your technician and letting you know, like, hey, your technician Brandon's on the way. So they know, okay, let me get ready. He's going to be here soon. So that's like kind of like what that service piece I was telling you, like, because you know when you're waiting for somebody to come into your house, you're like all day, you're antsy, like, oh, when is he coming? When is he coming? I don't want to miss the call. I don't want to miss the door. You know what I mean? Just making it easier on them, on them.
On the customer. Yeah, man,
Hmm.
that's awesome, and it's very customer centric, and that says a lot to the customers, right? When they, it's kind of like that Amazon experience, right? It's like so streamlined that to them it's like holy shit. I mean, this company's got it. This company's organized.
Right.
And so, Brandon, you as the CEO of Steel City Plumbers, what does a day in your life look like?
Uh, Wake up, check my tablet, see what's on the board, uh, dispatch my text to wherever I need to go, dispatch myself if I need to, check my marketing, check my bank accounts, and just go, man. I just go. Like when the moment I wake up, I literally go. Like I drop my kids off in the morning, and I'm headed to a job, or I'm looking up something until I get home. Some nights I don't get home. I don't get home till late, but I can't sleep anyway, so I just go.
You just go, man. That's awesome. And how does that, when you say that you check your tablet, what do you check? Are you checking your emails? You're checking the CRM. You're checking to see what happened, pretty much.
Yeah, email, CRM, uh, basically checking my numbers from the previous day, checking checking if my guys sold option, like gave because we required them to give at least three options on every job. Checking to see if they gave three options, if they were good options, seeing if they converted, if they didn't convert, or if they didn't convert, why they didn't convert.
How do you track that though? How do you track the different options?
And in our CRM, I can go back into any job. Like it's basically in our CRM, it stores all the data, so I can see when they delivered the option. I can click on it and see what estimates they gave, what three options they gave the client, what option if the client chose an option, what option they chose. I can see when they paid. I can see I can see all the pictures because I require my guys to take millions of pictures. Like literally, you can put a million pictures under a job, and it wouldn't even matter to me. Because the more information we have, the more we can track. So if they took the pictures, I get instant notification if they got a Google review, if they asked for a review. It just I can check everything basically as if I was actually on that job.
Wow. And on that same topic, when you ask your technicians to give the customer different options, do you find that sometimes the customer gets confused because they probably don't know much about plumbing to be able to decide what's best?
I wouldn't say I don't think they get confused, but it's just one of those things. You never, when you walk into somebody's home, you never know their budget because I'm gonna just be honest with you. Nobody wants to spend money on plumbing. You know what I mean? Nobody. Like it's just one of those things. Like no, because it's one of those things where you can't see and you don't notice it until it's broken. You know what I mean? And then when it's broken, it's bad. Most times it's bad. Like it's not like like a simple little thing. So give them the options. That just puts the ball in their court to be able to choose one what their budget allows and what they feel comfortable getting done.
I see. Instead of you charging, yeah, I see what you mean now. Because if you give them
Yeah,
one option, they're gonna be like, "What?
right,
This guy's trying to screw me, or this guy's trying to rip me
exactly.
off."
Because when you give somebody one option, you're basically putting that line in the sand, like, "Hey, you want me to fix this? This is what you got to do." But there's always more than one way to, I guess, skin a cat that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like in a sense, like so, like it's just more of a softer approach, and like you're letting them choose. Like, yeah, sometimes you get a client, they're like, well, what do you recommend? And me, I always say, hey, look, if I wasn't here, honestly, this is your best option. This option might be a little bit better, or it might be an upgraded option, but this might be your fix. And then the first option will probably be like your band-aid, like, hey, you really don't have the budget to really fix this, but this might get you by a little longer. You know what I mean?
I see what you mean. Yeah, that actually makes a lot of sense now in my head. The giving them multiple options, and you put it in a great way too. That's a great analogy. Like you don't see the pipes, so it's like until it breaks, you don't see it. So when it does break, it's like fuck, like damn,
Yeah.
I gotta pay for this. And how does that work actually? Like if somebody's renting, well, no, I guess when you guys receive calls, I guess if and it's for a home, I guess the landlord is usually the one that calls you guys, right? Not the person that's renting, or how does that work?
Well, generally we try to market to homeowners, but we do get calls from like tenants,
Hmm.
and we'll go out and look at the jobs. But before we do any work, we always let them know, hey, we need to get your landlord's approval to work on their property.
Ah, so even if the renter themselves was like, "Yo, you're here, just fix it," you can't touch it.
No, what we like to, we would basically take that 5-10 minutes and talk to the landlord and educate them on the situation and send them digitally. We can send them the estimate or agreement for us to do the work,
And
and they can
then
sign it digitally.
and
So
then they would pay, or the tenant would pay.
depending on whatever arrangements they make with their tenant, I mean, sometimes I've took calls where I had tenants that were adamant on paying, and then vice versa. So
Gotcha, gotcha. Very interesting, very interesting. And then let's talk a little bit about. You said as on your day you check what the guys did, you check the CRM, you check your emails. We talked about those. You said you also check your marketing. And that's one thing I want to touch on because, of course, this is a podcast that's kind of leaning toward digital marketing as well for home services.
mhm.
And I know you have a killer setup, so let's talk about that. So, can you kind of break down how you guys bring in leads? Because I would imagine you're not cold calling people anymore
No,
yourself or door knocking.
no. So basically, we like I said before, we market to homeowners, and I have a whole marketing team that's not in house, and they basically run ads for customers in our area, and they either click on our ads, go to our website, or actually might search plumber near me, and then we try to stay up on that in that top three or on that map pack.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
basically,
yeah.
that's what we push for. We push for that heavily because it's very important. It's very important.
Dude, yeah. And then where are you guys running ads? Are you guys doing Facebook? Are you guys doing Google ads? Are you guys on social media ads?
We're definitely on social media, but we found that Google LSAs and Google ads are our best revenue bringers, and more Facebook and Instagram. That's more like a branding play, like just to get our name out there, or like to target plumbers, to potential plumbers to come work for us. So
Oh,
that's how
because
we.
they are the ones on social media.
Right, right.
Probably, yeah. Because like,
Because
yeah,
generally,
that's the
yeah,
thing. Yeah, it makes
yeah,
a lot
because
of
generally
sense.
somebody's not going to go on social media and be like, "I need a plumber near me." They're going to go to They're going to go to Google. You know, like, like,
Exactly. Yeah. That's the one thing that I like, especially a lot of the older plumbers that know that they should be doing some marketing. Their first thing is like, oh, I gotta create a Facebook, I gotta create an Instagram account, I gotta start marketing there. But I'm like, who goes on Instagram and types in plumber near me, like you just said? Like nobody
right,
does that. Same thing with people that argue like that they're hardcore Angie's List or hardcore Home Advisor, and I'm like, yes, allocate some money there, but allocate the majority into something like local service ads or Google
right,
ads or Facebook ads. Because even on Angie's List, people don't go on Angie's List. Well, some people do that. Some people go there directly, but it's a much
right,
smaller pool than people that like see a pipe broken and they go on Google. Oh shit, the pipe is busted. What do I do, or something like that?
right, right,
Yeah, you target a bigger audience, and most plumbers think that just because you have Angie's List, just because you have Home Advisor, that those are the only options, and they're not. Plus, the downside too is that they'll take somebody will like a tenant will fill out a form on Angie's List, and then they sell that same information to 10 people.
right. I know. Look, that's why I've never signed up for Andy's List. They've been trying to get me for 8 years, bro. And then so many reps have called me. I don't even know. You know how they just find your number, bro. Like so many reps have called me, and I never understood that. I never understood. So you're going to sell this one lead to 10 people, and whoever's the fastest and can close the lead gets it. That's
Exactly.
not fair to me. I rather put my I guess put my flyer out there and hope that somebody clicks on it versus, you
Exactly.
know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah. Instead of knowing guaranteed that they're gonna sell that shit to multiple people. Plus, it might even ruin the reputation of the brand a little bit of like the plumber or whoever it is. Because if you're that 10th person that's calling them, they're pissed off.
Right.
They're like, "Why the fuck are you calling me? You called 10 people called me. Somebody already fixed it. Like, why are you still calling me? And who knows? They might leave a bad review. They might talk shit about the brand. Who knows? You know how people are.
Right.
Well, it's just a recipe for disaster, I would say. But man, and so how do you keep track of this? Because you're very educated, by the way, Brandon, on this. Like, you're the first person to tell me the word map pack. Usually, when I explain this to people, they're like, "What is that? Like, what are you trying to say?" But you mentioned it, so how did you kind of educate yourself on that?
I'll just be honest with you, man. It's just coaching, man. Getting the right people in your corner to teach you how to grow your business. Because us as plumbers, these are things like I never had anybody to teach me how to run a business. You know what I mean? And coaching, I'll say I've been doing coaching for the last year. This is going into my second year of actually having a legit coach versus me just having people that I consider a mentor. You know what I mean? Having a legit
Mm.
coach and actually learning from them and learning from their mistakes and actually implementing it and just doing.
And running those plays. Yeah, and you know what? Let's talk about that, Brandon, too, right? Because of course you're going to be going to the Dominican Republic. I believe it's coming up in the week. And how did you encounter your coach? How did you find him? And is that a coach specifically for plumbers, or what type of coach is he?
Yes, my coach, I'm a part of MDP. It's called Million Dollar Plumbers and Million Dollar Plumber, but they're transitioning to Million Dollar Pro. So actually, it
Mm.
started out as just for plumbers, but now they're branching off into the I guess service industry as a whole. But through their systems, like they have mapped out systems, and just going through the different modules and meeting with my coach once or twice a month, it just brought me to new levels and being open to listening and saying, hey, you need to do this at this point, and not just saying, nah, I don't want to do that. Actually listening,
Mm.
it was able to really transform my business and bring us to like where we're at currently.
And is that what type of call is that? Is that a one-on-one call? Is that a group call?
We have a mix of both actually. I have one-on-one calls, and then we have like group calls in a small environment, maybe like between 5 and 10 people at max. So this is just a whole group of people that think like you and are trying to have the same goal. So you're in a comfortable place, like especially in the group setting, you're in a comfortable place where you can actually say, hey, this is how I'm feeling today, and they can understand and know the struggles that you go through owning a business or running a business.
Man, that's super interesting. And then, wow. And so, how does it work then? Like, is it the same coach every single call with you, or is it like a team of coaches that you get
Well,
access
I personally have one coach, but there's so many meetings. Like I'll say literally in the system, there's like there's so many different breakdowns and meetings. Like basically I have like my one-on-one meeting. I have a meeting with all the I guess companies that are associated directly to my coach, and then we have a group meeting, and that's with all the coaches in the system and their people, and then they have weekly trainings where anybody can go to that's
with?
involved in the system.
Gotcha. And then what are some examples of the systems that they kind of have in place that you've implemented into your business?
Like for example, how to deal with your customers, how to pricing, basically marketing, and the different resources in that.
God, so it's not like they manage your social media. It's not like they manage your ads. They kind of
No,
show you the importance of those things. And if you could either do it yourself or you can outsource it to somebody.
right. Basically, they basically give you the playbook, and you got to implement it with your people. Basically,
Ah, gotcha. Gotcha. And you said you've been doing that for 2 years. So let me ask you this question, because a lot of people, especially in the black community, Hispanic community, are super fucking scared of spending money on a coach or on self improvement. If you could go back to the beginning when you first started your company, would you have hired your coach right away if you knew about the benefits that it would bring?
Yes. The two things, if I could go back in the time, I'll say 8 years. I'll go back 8 years, close to 8 years. Well, no, I'll say 6 years. If I can go back 6 years, the two things that I would spend money on is marketing and coaching.
Oof.
Nothing else matters in this industry because if you're not bringing in customers and you don't know what to do with the customers, you're not going to know what to do with the money. You're not going to have any money. You know what I mean?
Can you repeat that last part? You say if you have the customers, you won't be able to do what? What was it?
I was saying if I can go back, the two things that I would spend money on is marketing and coaching. Because if you don't market to customers and potential plumbers, you won't have any money. You're like you won't make any money. You're like if you don't have any jobs to do, you're not going to make any money. And if you don't know if you don't know how to handle either one of those, you're still not going to convert. Like you can spend money on marketing if you don't know how to treat the client or uh, schedule the appointment, then you're not going to convert. So it'll just be a waste of money. So you need those two things. Like those two things are key. Like I'll say those are the two things in my business that really brought us to the next level and not being scared to spend money. Like, cause we get, I guess, like you said, like when we come from certain areas, uh, when we get a little bit of money, we want to hold on to it. But no,
Yeah.
money's a tool. Spend it. Spend it because that marketing could bring, you know, can bring $3 to $4 for that $1 you spent.
Literally. Yeah, literally. And then when we add when we make it when we add bigger numbers, that same formula is still true. You put in $1,000, you're gonna get 3,000 out or 4,000 out, right? That same multiple is still there. So that's a great analogy. Um, man, so that's super valuable there. And is that the same group of people that you're gonna be going on vacation with? You guys are gonna
Yeah.
be doing like an in-person event?
Yes, we have an event in the Dominican Republic.
Ah, shit, my boy Brandon. Cash for my boy Brandon in the Dominican Republic. Man, let's go. So
International
Brandon,
traveler.
tell me, man, tell me. So now that you're gonna have more time, like, and I know I asked you the question earlier, but like now that you're gonna have more time because you're gonna be not so much in the field doing service calls by yourself, you're gonna maybe be with a couple of your technicians, having them improve. What else do you think you would do? Like, are you thinking of getting into real estate, or you're just gonna double down on your business, bring in more employees, more trucks, more clients, maybe go commercial? What do you have in mind?
Well, first of all, I'll tell you, I'm already in the real estate. I have a couple rentals. Real
Oh
estate
shit.
was my first love, man. Real estate's my first love. But it's just at the time when I started getting into real estate, plumbing made me more money. So,
Mm,
and I know real estate's more or less it's a long term game. Like, so I'll always be in the real estate, but basically I would just I'm planning on pushing my marketing. To be honest with you, I want to push my marketing and just really show up in my community and try to be here for my city. That's what I'll
man,
be
I,
spending
I
most of
can
my
I can
time
already
on.
see it, man. You pull up, you have if there's like a community event, you guys pull up with the trucks, you guys will have the shirt on, doing things there. And that's the beauty, man. And one last thing, and then we'll change topic on it, is like the beauty about marketing is like, and especially advertising, is that you only pay for that client once. And then you get all their information. You can retarget them with not more ads, but you can do email campaigns with coupons. And you once you win their trust, you're their plumber now. Whenever they have an issue, they're
Right.
gonna call you. They're not gonna go on Google and type in plumber near me. They're gonna call Brandon or they're gonna call Steel Plumbers, and and that's awesome. So, are you guys doing anything like that to kind of stay in front of your customers? Like, do you guys give discounts or coupons, anything like that?
Right now we are doing mailers and giving out cards and coupons. And like I said, we do a lot of retargeting with Facebook. That's how we
Mm,
basically, because I feel in this time and age, Facebook's like the yellow pages. You know what I mean? Like how the yellow pages used to be. Like everybody would go to the yellow pages when they want to find something. It's just like I guess I heard this quote before. You need at least 4 to 5 touches just to get a client.
And
You know what I
I've
mean?
heard the
Just
exact same thing as well.
so like in our industry, branding is key. Branding, good branding. Attach yourself to your city and just being present. You know what I mean? Like being part of mine. Like just being in somebody's sight line sometimes could really help you for them to pick you over
100%.
somebody else.
100%. 100% agree with all of that, man. And let's talk a little bit about Brandon in high school. Who was Brandon Leslie in high school? Like, how did you become the man that you are today?
Man, I don't know, man. I was that smart, quiet kid, I guess. Like I knew everybody, I was cool with everybody, but I really kept to myself. I was always in my mind, always thinking.
Mm.
So, and then even with my parents, nobody really ever knew what I was thinking or what was going on with me. I remember one time I got in trouble and my parents didn't see like they were like wondering like where my grades were at, and then I pulled it out and showed them. And like, dang, he's doing all right. Yeah,
Like, man, that's funny. So it's like you got in trouble, but your grades were still good that they couldn't really get mad at you.
yeah, like yeah. I guess I don't remember exactly what happened, but they were like, "Well, how are you doing in school? We don't know nothing's going on." And I just pulled it out like, "Here, I got A's and B's." Like,
Let's go. And then what about after high school? Did you ever go to college or did you go to straight school? What
all
was
right.
your take
So
after you graduated?
after high school, I went to the day after my graduation. I started school at I guess a local college for filmmaking
Mm.
for a summer program. So like they were going to set me into their filmmaking program if I came to the summer classes. After completion of the summer classes, I was more into like girls and having fun. And my advisor told me, "Hey, I think you need to go to community college. There's some issues you have with like your grammar and spelling and that you need to work on before you come to college." So it kind of like discouraged me in a way, but so I ended up taking a year off after that, and then I decided I wanted to work on cars because I grew up in that Fast and the Furious era. So I went to a trade school for auto body and end up the dorms we lived in was a culinary school. So I ended up working at the culinary school, going to trade school during the day and then working at the culinary school in the night at night. Finished that program, came back home, couldn't get a job in auto body. Like I called one shop. They said, only way you're going to get a position here is if one of us dies, and I'm not going anywhere.
What the fuck?
Yeah. So imagine a 21-year-old kid. You telling that to a 21-year-old kid is like, dang. So then from there, I I got a job at Arby's as a
Mm.
manager because I was like, all right, well, if I'm gonna get a job, I'm gonna be a manager. I don't care. I'm not just gonna be a average employee. I worked there for 8 years. Real
Eight?
big on customer service.
8 years?
Yeah, I was there for almost 8 years.
Wow.
And then towards the end of that my time there, I think I just got so bored, man. I was so bitter. Like you know how you go to like fast food now and like everybody's so mean and upset and you're like, dang man, like I don't deserve this. Like I'm trying to spend my money
Yeah.
with you. I got to that point and it went from before like where people would just come in just to be there, just to talk to me, you know what I mean? To that point, and I told myself, once I got to that point, if I ever got that miserable and bitter, I would leave. So I ended up trying to get in school for HVAC, and
Mm.
went to a community college for that. Took a class, took plumbing as an elective, and fell in love with it, man. Like I just fell in love with the getting water from A to B and the whole history of plumbing and like the aqueducts and how basically plumbing took us out of the dark ages. You know what I mean? Just by moving waste from one point to the next.
Wow.
And From there, I just knew, like, once I started plumbing, I knew I wanted to own a plumbing company.
Oh wow. So you
Yeah,
actually wanted to get into HVAC. And as
yeah,
we know, plumbing is a part of HVAC. So you fell in love with the plumbing aspect of HVAC.
right, right.
Wow.
And then I just went full board plumbing and worked, got an apprenticeship, worked under a major plumbing company in the city. And then when they didn't want to give me a raise, once I got my license, they didn't want to give me a raise. Well, they gave me a raise, $1.50 raise or $1.25 raise after already being underpaid versus my counterparts. And they, I said, well, I've been doing a lot of side work and I'm making more money in 3 days between Friday, Saturday, and Sunday than I make all week. So I just left. I put my 2 weeks in, and by the way, they made me stay for 2 weeks too.
2 weeks after that?
Yeah, they made me stay. He's like, well, I just knew like that my boss at the time, he had the reputation for somebody putting their 2 weeks notice in and just firing them that day on the spot. So I was hoping that happened to me because I had like 4 jobs to do. And he said, well, I think you're making a bad decision. So I'm going to make you stay for 2 weeks.
Oh
And
man.
then, that happened on a Friday. I went into work on a Monday and I was just like, man, I can't stay here. Like I was at the job, literally just looking around like, yo, I got work to do, man. And just left. Like at the end of that day, I left and never came back.
Holy shit. So he wasn't gonna have you do any work. He was just gonna make you stay in the warehouse just for no
No,
reason.
he wanted to make me stay on the job site I was on for 2 weeks because I guess in his mind, I was making a bad decision
Mm.
leaving, putting in my 2 weeks and leaving. So he thought that he was going to give me 2 weeks to reconsider my decision. But he didn't know that I already was making money on my own before I left.
Wow. And so how old were you when you went into trade school for HVAC?
Oh man, I think I might have been like 23, 23, 24.
23, 24.
No, I had to be a little younger. I was probably about 22.
Ah, okay. But I thought you said you did 8 years at Arby's though.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That was because I think I was maybe like 20. Yeah, it was. I think I was like maybe 20. I had to be like 22 when I was at Arby's. I was maybe 20 between 21 and 22 when I got out of school. Because the first time I went to school, trade school, it was only like an 18-month program, so it was a small
And
window
that
of
was the
time.
auto body, right? That was the auto
Yeah.
body one?
hmm
Ah, okay. Gotcha. And so at what age did you start your own plumbing company? Like how old were you at that point when you had your license already and all that?
Okay, I started because my when I started in school for plumbing, I said I'll have my master's license when I was 25. I mean, when I was 35, and I ended up starting my company 2 years before that. So I wasn't even a master when I started my plumbing company.
Is that a normal thing or no?
Well, no, well, generally, I would say no because most master plumbers, once you take the test to become a master plumber, then you generally try to start your own company. But in Allegheny County, Pittsburgh, you can start a plumbing company and not and have a master on record. Like basically, you hire a master plumber and he works for your company. And that's what I did.
Gotcha. Gotcha. And dude, one thing I gotta say too, Brandon, is like you went to trade school 3 times. Like that's cool to me. Like what made you know that you wanted to do some sort of trade? Because you went
Well,
back 3 times. The first two you weren't right about, but the third one you were, or you felt comfortable with.
right. Well, basically, ever since I was younger, I always been like I have a technical mind. Like I can take stuff apart and put it back together. So like the technical aspect of it was really nothing for me. You know what I mean? Like I always understood. Okay, if I remember how this was put together, I can probably take it apart and put it back together.
Hmm.
So, and then as far as plumbing school, like when I went back that last school, when I went back in the like when I was in HVAC, when I was in for HVAC, it was only maybe I only took maybe like 3 or 4 classes, and then I jumped into the just straight into the plumbing. Like I left.
Oh,
So
so
I
you
might
didn't
have,
complete it. You
right.
just
Yeah, I
dropped
didn't
it.
complete it. Yeah, I didn't complete it. Like I end up leaving. I end up leaving because you can get an apprenticeship in plumbing. Like basically, it was like for the plumbing side of it, you can get in an apprenticeship program and go to school. So it's like basically, if you go to community college for plumbing, then they'll take a year off of your school. Like they'll take a year off of your apprenticeship. And of course, I didn't qualify for that, so I technically had to do the actual 4 years.
Oh shit. Oh, to get your license?
Yes.
Wow. And how difficult was that? Because here in New Jersey, to get a plumbing license, it's kind of really, really fucking tough. Like, you got to go to school. You have to work specific hours. So that means that after work, you have to go to school, or before work, you have to go to school. How
Right.
difficult is it in PA?
It's pretty much the same. You go to school 2 nights a week, and then you work during the day. But and you gotta accumulate like 5,600 and something hours to be eligible to take the test. But my mindset, like when I took my journeyman's test, my mindset is like this is my mindset. You study for 4 years to pass one test. You know what I mean? Like you can
Hmm.
pass it. 4 years to pass one test, and I passed it. And I
On the
took that.
first try?
Yeah,
Was it, well, how difficult was it? Like,
it wasn't that hard, man. Like you literally you study for 4 years to pass one test. You know what I mean? Like just repetitive. Like I'll say that's one thing my wife, like we made flashcards and just went over questions after questions after questions. Went back to all my tests and just kept going over questions and questions and questions. So, and
man,
it was
that is
pretty much the
awesome.
same with the master's test. It's like you study for 4 years and you worked under another master plumber for 2 years to take one test. That was my mindset. That was the way I got through it. Like to basically to, you know what I mean, to like pretty much psych myself into like, yo, you got this, bro. 4 years, one test. You know what I mean?
Man, that is freaking awesome. And how does that test look, by the way? Is it a written test? Do they test you with physical things too when you take that big final exam?
Basically, I think it's like maybe 150 multiple choice questions. Then you have maybe like four to it's been so many years, like, but you have like maybe a 4 or 5 plumbing drawings you got to create, and then like charts you have to do.
Oh, so it isn't just multiple choice. There is also
Right,
some aspects that, like, you have to do charts, or you have to do. What
right.
about
Like you have to
physical? There's
do.
no physical tubing done or anything like that.
No, 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 no.
Okay,
But
man, that's
even with those, like basically how I got past it was I basically said, okay, because it's all broken down by points. Like the 100 point test might be worth like let's say 60 points. Like you probably gotta get 100 for simple math. Like you got 100 points. The written part might be worth 60 points, and then each of the smaller little charts or drawings might be worth 5 to 10 points apiece. So I said, so when I got into it, I said, all right, as long as I get 70 to 80 on the main test. And then I just basically broke down with the charts and drawings. All right, I'm good at this part of it. I'm good at that part of it. I'm good at this part of it. I'm not so good at this part of it, so I won't spend so much time on that part of it. And just got it done, you know?
just got it done, dude. I love it, bro. You pushed through it, and I know it's not easy too, right? Because that's 4 years to get one license. But without that one license, though, you couldn't start the business, though, right?
Right, right. Well, I
Shit.
couldn't start the business and run it the way I wanted to run it because I'll basically be at the mercy of that master plumber. So if I hired a master plumber to work for my company, then he would have some sort of control. And if we fell out, he could just, I'm pulling my license from your company. You know what I
Mm,
mean?
literally. Damn, man. That's very interesting. And Brandon, I know we're coming up on our time because I want to be respectful of your time here. But what are some, if you were to start over as a plumber, let's say that you were 21 and you knew that you wanted to be a plumber, you're already in school, you're already an apprentice. What would you recommend for somebody to speed up the process of launching themselves to start their business right away as soon as they get their license?
I would say branding. Branding is the one, branding and marketing are like the two biggest things you can do in your company. Like coming up with a very, very, very good name, not like Joe's Plumbing or something simple. Coming up with a really good name, good logo, is the key. And I would say start off slow. Don't push to grow super fast. Like start off slow. It's better to grow. It's better to build. I guess you would say if you're building a pyramid, it would be better to build wide and tall versus trying to build tall because you're gonna, you know, what I mean, you risk so many setbacks throughout your journey when you could have built slower and wider and got there a little slower, but your company will be a lot better in the end.
Wow. And then what would you say to a plumber that's now 30 years old? He has one or two trucks, maybe two or three guys, and he's looking to scale. What would you recommend to that person?
I would say I would say get out your feelings, be willing to listen. This is a new day and age. Marketing is different from when we were younger. You know what I mean? Like you gotta bring good people around you and listen to what they're telling you. We don't know it all. Like this new AI generation is crazy, bro. Like just be coachable. Be willing to at least listen. You know what I mean? Listen to new ideas.
Be willing to just listen. Yeah, man, that's actually funny that you mentioned that. I was listening to, I don't know how you feel about him, but Andrew Tate, I was listening to one of his videos this morning. He said people are broke because of one of three reasons. They're either too lazy and they don't want to put in the work, or they're too stupid and they don't want to listen to people that are telling them to do specific things to get the outcome. Like they just they don't listen, or they're too arrogant. So it's funny that you mentioned that they're like, be coachable, be able to receive advice and not take it personally, right? It's not that
Right.
somebody doesn't like you. It's just that if something doesn't work, it doesn't work. That's all. But man, that was some great advice, Brandon, and thank you so much for coming on, man. Do you have any closing thoughts for the audience? How can they get in contact with you? All those things.
You can reach me either on our website at steelcityplumbers.com. You can email me at uh, Brandon at steelcityplumbers.com. You can actually, that's Facebook, Steel City Plumbers. We out, yeah,
Brandon.
we out there.
Let's go. Let's go. And that's proof right there that branding is important. You're the same on all platforms. You got the uniform on, the trucks. You guys have a beautiful truck, by the way. That really caught my attention. You see
Yeah.
that shit going down the street. I'm like, yeah, that's my plumber right there. But yeah, man, Brandon, thank you so much for coming on, man. I really appreciate your time. Audience, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Reach out to Brandon if you guys need anything from him, or if you guys live in that area. Number one plumbing, number one plumber in Pittsburgh. That's Brandon. And stay blessed, guys. Peace.